June 23rd. Can we do a quick roll call, Amanda? Not knowing who's in the boardroom.
You have Mr. Diamond here in the boardroom. The only committee meetings members you're missing are Mr. Bruno and Mr. McGowan.
Okay, so we do have a quorum. Mr. Conover, Mr. Diamond, Mr. Hogan, Ms. Seaver, and myself. Okay, 5 out of 7. That's a winner. Okay, first thing is we need to approve the meeting minutes from last month. Do I have a motion for that?
I'll make that.
Motion by Mr. Conover, second by Ms. Seaver. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I heard Mr. Diamond say aye too. Very good. Thank you. All right, we're going to go right into the action agenda, new business, and I'm going to turn it over to Don McGraw. Don, are you on?
I am. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
First request I have is to authorize award a contract. This is for the SRE building construction, and this is the plumbing contractor, which wasn't bid in the previous 3 awards. It's total of $125,000. $112,000 is the base bid, and for the non-eligible FAA portion for the bathroom, that came to $12,000.
Or our total cost would be $12,000. Is that correct, Don?
No, that's just for the plumbing piece of it. The total bathroom that we'd be responsible for now with this plumbing comes to $33,859. And just a reminder, this is going to be paid 100% by the FAA, so we are saving over $100,000 from that piece of it.
Discussion from anyone? Yes, Mr. Conover.
I'll move that.
Okay, Mr. Conover moves it. Do I have a second? A second by Ms. Hogan. Now we'll have discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Seaver.
just for a point of reference, without Supervisor McGowan being here, I just wanted to say he'll be very disappointed with the additional $3,000 on top of his $30,000 gold-plated bathroom, which he, of course, mentioned last meeting. I know it's a joke, Kev. Like, I'm not being critical. I know nothing about how much that's supposed to be, so don't worry. I'm just saying it for Brad's sake because I know he's going to watch.
Yeah, it's my understanding, Rachel, that you correct me if I'm wrong, Don, but prevailing wages has a lot to do with the actual cost. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a DBE requirements and some other wage requirements that are, I say artificially, but you know, because these are federal and state grants, they push the cost up on these.
Are there any other discussion on the bathroom?
Mr. Diamond has a question.
Mr. Diamond, thank you. Mr. Diamond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just a note, it's nice to see we're doing business locally. And I fully support this bid today. It's nice again that we're dealing with local people and local jobs.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Thank you. Great point. Any other discussion? Okay, so you need a, let's see here. We need a, do you need a resolution for that or just a authorization?
That is a resolution. You have a motion and a second on the floor. You just need to vote.
Okay, all in favor of the bathroom, raise your hand. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Mr. Diamond, you're for it, I assume?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next one, Don.
All right, I'm going to do the next 2 together because they're related to the bid for our new hangars. So we had the hangar bids come in. The award for general contractor for that came out to a total of $637,000, and the requested award of contract for the electrical came to $161,000 for a total construction price of $798,000. We have $903,000 left in the grant, so we've got a $100,000 buffer there, and that's for 8 bays. So we're getting eight new hangar bays for $800,000.
Okay, who would like to move that? Mr. Conover would like to move it. Do we have a second? Ms. Hogan, now discussion. So what would be left on This would be 8 new hangars, and our ultimate objective is how many new hangars?
Well, in that area, we'd like to push it out to 20. So we'd like to get 12 more in the next round. And then we have some other areas around the airport that we can put additional on. So we could end up without a whole lot of site work with up to 24 hangars new.
Discussion, Ms. Seaver.
Thank you. Don, can we fill these hangars? I mean, as we keep building these, I'm assuming, is there a waiting list? Like, how does this work with our FBO? I'm just wondering, I think it looks like a good investment, and I'm glad that we're talking about grant dollars, but still taxpayer dollars, and wondering what the plan is for that. And I apologize if you talked about this last year as you were planning it, but if you could catch me up.
I'm sorry, one more time, what was the question exactly?
Can you fill them?
Yeah, well, you have to remember, the original plan was to fill, we have 2 6-bay hangars down here that are very old, so we have 12 tenants existing. And the original plan was to build 20, fill the first 12 from those old hangars, demolish the old hangars, and then try to fill 8 new ones. So as we build these new 8 hangars, right of first refusal will go to our existing tenants. So what I'm guessing is going to happen is the 8 new hangars will be filled immediately with our existing tenants. That will open up 8 old hangars that we don't have the money to demolish at this point. I'm guessing a certain portion of those 8 hangars will fill up, but they are old and they're smaller hangars. But I have a fairly steady number of calls for hangars, so I think eventually we will fill these hangars. So the answer is yes.
Any other questions? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none and seeing none opposed, motion carried. What do we got next, Don?
The next thing, we're still talking about the land use change from the FAA. I haven't gotten anything in writing yet, but I am told that headquarters has come to a determination on the parcels. I'm told that 1 or 2 of the parcels will be exempt from further review, but 1 or 2 of them will need an aeronautical study, which typically takes 90 days or less. So once I get something solid from the FAA, then we can continue to move on with that.
Okay, a discussion. This doesn't need an approval for anything, but discussion. So Don, of the total amount of land that we're potentially looking at for a solar use, how much has the FAA said, okay, that seems all right? And how much do they want to relook at or study further?
Well, we presented them with 3 parcels, and they did not tell me which parcels they're going to move forward with and approve and which parcels they're not. If I had to guess, I think 2 out of the 3 will be approved, and it will leave 1 remaining one that we'll do a quick study on, which I don't think is going to be an issue.
Okay. Any other discussion? Yes, Mr. Diamond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don, is the RFP almost completed to be reviewed?
No, I haven't started that because I'm waiting to see which parcels are going to be available.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Any other questions? Okay, all right. Anything else, Don?
That's all I have.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll now go to buildings and grounds. And let me get my, let me pull that up here. Okay, Kevin, are you on? Yes, Kevin.
I am. Good morning, everyone. The first item that we have is a request to create a new position. Reason for me doing this is a couple. Frank had an individual retire in his department back in January. Frank and I were working on what would we feel the best title, or it was kind of an oddball title. It was a building maintenance worker too. It was the only one that we had in the county. It was kind of out of in line with everything else that we had in the county. So Frank and I were looking to change that position title to something different. And then when the COVID-19 came along, Frank and I really kind of looked back at what we should be doing for the department, and really as a safety of the public, as well as the safety of the staff that work at the county center, as well as throughout other buildings, we decided to create a daytime custodian position. So that's what this is a position for a daytime custodian. The person's job would mainly be a cleaner. Although as a custodian, as most of you are aware, custodians can do other type of work as well. Jack, you're probably familiar with this as well. Custodians also do a lot of maintenance work, and it may be minor maintenance work, that is changing of light bulbs, minor electrical, minor plumbing, minor HVAC. So again, the main reason for hiring the person or creating this position would be to provide a daytime cleaning at the county center in light of everything that's taken place with the coronavirus. And on top of that, the surveys that were put out to all the employees, a lot of the surveys came back with the, hey, we just want to make sure that it's clean, it's safe for us to be within the, within the county center, so on and so forth. So it's the salary in the position that was there before was approximately $49,000. This salary is as a custodian is only going to be about $31,000. Of the salary of the person that retired, there was about $42,000 left. So 31 of this would be put towards that new position. So that basically is the two request, is create a new position and then to fill the position of the custodian.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Conover, second by Ms. Hogan. Discussion. Mr. Conover, then Ms. Seaver, then Mr. Diamond.
Yeah, just this is a critically important position to have filled going forward. The regular cleaning of our facilities with the correct cleaning agents is very important as we combat this virus going forward. So I certainly support this 1,001%.
Very good, Mr. Conover. Ms. Seaver.
I just wanted to take a moment to say, I know while we're on this hiring freeze and our county administrator with our budget officer continues to look very carefully at every single expenditure, I think that this not only was highlighted through the employee surveys and the tourism surveys that we did, but Kevin and his departments have done a great job in not only thinking outside the box, but coming up with ways to empower all of our own departments to also take part in that cleaning, as well as looking at the hand sanitizer issues and everything else that went with those surveys. So I think, Kevin, historically, I know we've gone back and forth with different levels of custodial staff, but this is such a critical piece of the puzzle to make sure that we're getting back to 100% as soon as possible. So I just wanted to say thanks. And we spend a lot of time thanking essential workers, but we forget how important our cleaning crews are to making everything work and be healthy. So thank you very much.
Welcome. Mr. Diamond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to point out the creation of this new position is also going to save the county some dollars. So I think it's a good work in progress.
Thank you, Mr. Diamond. Ms. Bramer, did you have something you wanted to say?
I did want to respond to what Supervisor Seaver said. I completely agree that this is an important position at this time, given everyone's concerns about our personnel coming back safely and making sure that the facilities are clean. My comment is about her saying that we are in a hiring freeze. While I agree that we should be very, very careful about who we're hiring, yesterday we added a bunch of different people to the county payroll. So I want to point out that it does not seem to me like we are in a hiring freeze any longer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kramer. Any other comments? Mr. Moore.
We are in a hiring freeze, but that doesn't extend to positions that actually save the county money. That's some of what we did yesterday. And we also had positions that are 100% federally funded. We had positions that are essential for public health.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any other comments? Okay, so Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, we're voting on number 2 and 3 combined, or just number 2?
I believe as it was presented, it was only 2. You can vote on 2 and 3 together if you would like to. You would just need Mr. Conover and Ms. Hogan to amend their motion to include
Mr.
that.
Conover?
I'll amend my motion.
Okay, will you second that, Ms. Hogan? Will you agree? Because you were the second. Okay, so number 2 and 3 are now amended and together as one. I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing and seeing none, motion carried. What do we got next, Kevin?
The next item is, and Jack, it may not be quite the savings that you had stated. The next item was to transfer not all of the salary that was left over, but some of the salary that was left over into our temporary cleaning position. As most of you are aware, our temporary cleaner is typically used in the winter months. It's typically, we bring them on board in October, and they typically are done somewhere about April. So typically we have them on for about 6 months out of the year, but typically that's at night. What I'd like to do now is, along with this custodian, the only facility, I mean, you know, we always talk about the county center. I have a lot of other facilities throughout the county that could use, you know, cleaning. I mean, as Supervisor Seaver pointed out, a lot of departments are doing their own, but I have facilities up here, whether it's the office building or the shop or any of the remote shops that don't have necessarily a cleaner, and typically we use that nighttime cleaner. But again, the same for them. They'd like to see a little more of that during the daytime. So what I'm proposing to do is take some of the salary left over from the building maintenance worker 2 position that's not going into our new custodian and put it into the temporary cleaner position. And I would like that person to start ASAP, basically, and I can, you know, bring them on and say, as of July 1st, start doing some of that cleaning, and that'll be with the custodian during the daytime. And then the transfer of money was to be put in there come October, if I needed to bring somebody back at night. And I don't know, you know, yet whether the individuals that we'll have during the daytime will cover that, so that those nighttime people may not need somebody extra. But I just wanted to make sure that if I had to bring somebody else back in October, that I had the money in the temporary salaries to put in there, or the temporary cleaner to put in there.
Okay, so you're asking for a motion on number 4 on your agenda for the transfer of salaries. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the total amount is, I think it's $8,700, I believe, which would give about 3 months. And again, it may not be used. And if it's not, it's, you know, great for us. But again, I think I need to get somebody on as soon as possible right now during the day as a temporary cleaner, as opposed to the nighttime position. But come winter months, I may need that nighttime position again.
Okay, motion moved by Mr. Conover, seconded by Ms. Hogan. You're good. We got a routine going here, gang. Discussion, Mr. Conover.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just repeating myself, if we're going to approach any level of normalcy, we're going to have a very aggressive cleaning program. You know, the standards out there say regular cleaning, in some cases a minimum of 3 times a day. And in some cases, they require an actual record keeping of the cleaning that's being done. So these are very important positions that I think we're going to have going forward. Thank you.
Very good point. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, it's Frank. Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
I would also add that courts have requested extra cleaning as well as social services, which could be covered by these 2 individuals. And both the courts and DSS would be reimbursable through our maintenance in lieu of rent. So at least part of that salary can be gotten back in another budget year.
Thank you, Frank. Kevin, would you like to follow up on that?
I did, as well as that is through FEMA right now, and related to coronavirus, this temporary cleaner or a portion of their salary, possibly 75%, could be covered by FEMA as well.
Further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing and hearing none, motion carried. Kevin, let's move on to referral and pending items.
All right, the next item on there is the discussion to continue regarding the changes in the concrete area. I think we decided last month to kind of put this on hold until we determine, what our finances are like after this COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm assuming we'll just continue on that route for now.
Is there any discussion on that? Personally, I think we should continue on that track until we got a better handle on the COVID, and there's no rush on this entrance for the main building. So seeing and hearing no discussion, let's move to number 2 on the referral and pending items list. Go ahead, Kevin.
This is a referral that came from Environmental Concerns and Real Property regarding the asbestos in the old jail. And I believe last month, you, Mr. Committee Chair, as well as Supervisor McGowan, were going to meet to develop a kind of a working group.
That's correct. I've contacted Mr. McGowan, and that's still on hold right now, but he'd like to get involved. So I'll let him give you an update at the next meeting next month on what his thoughts are and so forth.
The last item we have under referrals was to establish a plan and estimate the cost of hand washing sanitizing stations. So what we have done at the county so far, and actually with Supervisor McGowan's assistance, we've created a lot of hand sanitizing stations using the many gallons of hand sanitizer that we got from the state. So they're in the process of building those right now. I believe they've gotten 6 of them done. 3 of them, I think, will be installed at the Wood Park today. There will be others placed along the bike path and any other county facilities. On top of that, Frank has gotten more, I think they're the mechanical ones, not the automatic ones, hand sanitizing stations, because we can't get the refills for the automatic ones anymore. So he's gotten more of the mechanical ones that will be placed throughout County Center as well as Human Services Building. We have also reached out to every department and provided them with the option of getting 2-ounce bottles for every single one of their staff. They've all come to Frank. Frank, you can add on to this, but I think Frank has passed out the 2-ounce bottles just about to every staff. And he also has placed right now the 1-gallon containers throughout the county center, whether they're on counters in someone's office, the main counter, maybe out in the front lobby, and other areas throughout the county center so that people can use those.
Thank you. Frank, did you want to add anything?
No, I think we're pretty well covered. A lot of departments have asked for their own refill capacity, and as long as we're getting this stuff, I don't see any problem with giving them an extra gallon or 2. My concern out in the hallways was the mess, but we've kind of found a way to cut down on the amount that these things pump when you push them. And also the mechanical hand sanitizers I'm going to put up in addition to the automatic ones. I do have the automatic refills on back order, so eventually we'll have them, but in the meantime the mechanicals will be extra. And I believe every department has gotten the 2-ounce bottles. I haven't had any other requests, so I think we're in good shape.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moore?
I do just want to reiterate a message that we sent last week. We got a massive shipment of this stuff from New York State, and we're good from a county perspective. I hope that most of the towns are good. If you're not, just let Brian LaFleur and Tammy know how much you want, and you can come and pick it up. And the same goes for businesses in your community. If you've got businesses that could use it, let us know. It's doing no good sitting around here, and if we get to where we don't have priority individuals like supervisors and chambers, if we get to where we don't have individuals like that wanting it, we can announce some kind of public come and get it sort of thing. So we don't intend on letting this stuff sit around. So if you need it, let us know.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. We all know the number one issue, and not to repeat it over and over again, though, is safety. for the employees and for our guests who come to the county. That's the number one overwhelming issue. I don't think we can have enough hand stations up. I mean, the more that people who come to visit us see that and get that sense of safety, the more they'll tell their friends, and hopefully that will snowball and we'll get more people to use our facilities and spend their money. So, and it's just public safety. I mean, it's a common sense issue. So I appreciate Kevin, you and Frank and everyone making a big effort on getting these hand sanitizers around at our county facilities. It's so important for our employees and for the tourists who are coming to the county. So appreciate it. Is there any other discussion, Mr. Conover?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would comment that the sanitizer, we went out and got these small spray bottles, not the pump bottles, and which allows us to distribute this more widely, and it also doesn't waste as much as the pump does. So it's a very simple answer to, then we transfer from the larger bottles into these smaller bottles. I just put that out there as an idea.
No, that's very good. Thank you, Mr. Conover. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, open it up to the public. Don, is there any comments from the online?
No, Supervisor Beatty, we do not have any online comments.
Okay, Mr. Hajos, you want to add something? Thank you, Don.
Yeah, I actually just wanted to provide everybody with kind of an update of what Buildings and Grounds and my sign shop have been doing. We had requested, I guess you want to call them spit shields, plexiglass covers up throughout the county. I think at this point we have purchased enough of plexiglass now, and I believe everyone in the county, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe everybody in the county, including some of our outside offices, have all been covered. Plexiglasses are put in place. On top of that, I think as we had talked about earlier, the hand sanitizer is out, except for the outdoor ones. Most of the interior ones or request from each of the departments has been handed out. Lastly, is my sign shop had a request when I put it out to everybody, or the one that Ryan had put out, for typical signs needed throughout their departments. Right now, we have done over 162 signs. I think we have another 70 to go. They've been placed throughout the county center. These are either decals for the floors, wall signs, or window decals. If you look throughout the county center now, you'll probably start to see them, throughout every department. You can't miss them on DMV. There's nice decals on the floor where people should stand or sit. We have just the Human Services building, I believe, is the last to be done, and then some minor signs here and there around the county center, some of our, again, outside facilities. And the last thing I just wanted to kind of give everybody a heads up on is the OES building is moving forward. They had over 400 clips to put on. I believe, Frank, we talked, they're just about completed, and soon you'll start to see the roof and the walls go up, or the siding go up on that building.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Frank, did you want to mention something?
Oh, I'm all set. I just would add to the OES building. I've been very, very happy with the contractors out there.
Well, your brother-in-law is doing a good job. Little lighthearted humor. Okay, seeing no other discussion, call in favor of ending this meeting. Who'd like to make the motion to end it? Ms. Hogan and Mr. Conover at the second. The one-tune team. Okay, all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meeting's adjourned. Thanks for attending.